hit. He's very heavy-handed. He's extremely heavy-handed for a prospect fighter. He's extremely heavy-handed. And the fact that he is heavy-handed, it puts him at an advantage, to be first with the jab and everything's off the jab. This is the thing. Ramirez likes to counterpunch and start his offense off that way. So we're in here going crazy right now because I told people I was going to be in the chat and having them on live to promote the Rope It Out radio show. And they're right now on my YouTube live. So make sure that they follow the show. Go to at Rope It Out Radio on Twitter. Click the link. Chris Carlson is the host. That was for them, Chris. Now, going into this.
I appreciate that.
No problem. So going into the next fight, watching the fight with him and Adam, I start to see some flaws in Ramirez that I didn't see before because of the level of competition he was fighting. Amir Ahman gave him so many problems and hurt him a lot of times in the fight because Amir Ahman's jab was controlling the offense and he was dominating the middle of the ring. When he got to the ropes and rested there, Ramirez didn't come in and aggressive the way he should have early on. And I'm thinking, if he fights Regis Prograis this way, Regis fights to knock you out. Amir Ahman does not. Regis will let you believe that he wants to get hit. He will let you believe those opportunities are open. Then that door is going to close real fast. It's going to shut down. Pow. Soon as they come through. And I was like, he lands that big left because he's short. So he already knows what he has to do to get inside. He knows he's got to do it with his timing. He's got to set you up. And he's slick. He could slip punches. And Ramirez throws a lot of slow punches. And I was like, okay, there it is. He throws a couple of slow, pushy punches. His thing is attrition. Throwing 3, throwing 4. But when somebody's throwing something back and he feels it, he becomes a little gunshot for a while. And he sits back. And Regis will go to your body. And he'll go to the head. He just don't headhunt. So this was one of the major factors that I've seen when he was talking about making the fight. And he's a dangerous fight for Ramirez. And they want to Top Rank want to kind of build it up a little bit, give him an extra fight. Maybe he gets some wear and tear, some cuts or something. Then throwing Ramirez in there because Ramirez just came out of a tough fight. It was that judge was on crack, 120-108. That was a ridiculous score. So I'm like, if Ramirez got the fight, exactly. Ramirez got it. He got it in the second half of the fight because he was clearly losing the fight in the first 6 rounds. Now, after the second round, the second half of the fights, he was definitely controlling the action. So I gave Ramirez that, without a doubt. He definitely controlled the action there and won the second half of the fight. Now, I'm sitting here doing the fight by head, and I could see Regis Prograis beating him or even knocking down Ramirez because he's not going to do what Amir Ahman did and basically back up because he's afraid of getting hurt. Ahman is with a shot. So he backs out and he backs straight out. Regis will stay right in there and bang with you. He wants to bang. And I think he hits a lot harder than Ramirez. I think Ramirez is not a hard puncher. He's a good puncher, solid puncher, but not a power hitter like Regis Prograis. At 140, he's not a thunderous puncher. He's an attrition fighter and starts working on the inside. That's his game. And with Regis, I think Regis will put him in the shell. Once he feels that power, that big left hand, it's going to get his attention. And it's going to put him in a shell and that he's someplace he don't want to be. So that's definitely the situation right now where they're at. Then you were talking about, I think Regis. I'm favoring Regis too in that fight when they come around. Now, when
Yeah,
we
me too. I mean, it does seem like Bob's going for the okie doke, though. You know, like, hey, man, let's build up Regis. All of a sudden, he cares about Regis and his name. Like, let's build him up, man. It's not a pay-per-view fight, though. This isn't a pay-per-view fight, so maybe they don't need to build it up. You know what? Why don't you just fight him next, like you said that you were going to do?
Oh
But I
yeah,
understand. I do the same damn thing.
I would too. And then you have the situation with that's going on with what's that fight that I do like that they got coming up? Lomachenko, and I never thought that, but they really wanted this fight. Linares team, they fought Golden Boy Promotions. They fought everybody to get this fight. And I'm proud of them for that because they didn't have to do that. You know, Golden Boy really did not want to push this fight.
Yeah.
They did not want them to fight Lomachenko. And they're fighting under on ESPN. They're going to be fighting under Top Rank law, which means Lomachenko wins every round. No matter what, you're going to have to knock him out. And that's basically it, you know. And Linares is like, look, I want this fight. The money's right. The opponent's right. Why am I holding out? What's the point? Because it's not right for Golden Boy. And they're like, look, we got the right to do what we want to do here. You know, that's our deal. So I guess they found out that they were in every bit of the right that they had to make the fight happen. And Golden Boy, I guess, couldn't do anything to stop him. So it's going down. And I give Linares all the credit in the world because he wanted this fight. He showed that this is what you do when you really want to fight. You go after it. And he went after the fight. He's like, oh, look, I really don't care what the terms is, what network. I want to fight Lomachenko, period. And once that happened, everybody was like, okay, well, I guess this is the thing to do. We need to just make this fight happen. So I'm very proud of them for coming to this realization.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so.
And they even, you know, they gave Linares the A-side name first. So, you know, they're like, yeah, add the name because you ain't getting the scorecards, like you said.
Right. You're the favorite. You're the champ, so we're coming for your belt. Yeah. We'll give you the name Linares versus Lomo. That's what they put in there. Linares Lomo. But stylistically, if the fight, this would be a problem for Lomachenko. This fight is a very difficult fight for him because he's fighting someone who's fast. And normally he's not fighting someone that's fast. Rigondeaux is fast, but Rigondeaux footwork and everything else is basically stationary. Linares has way more movement than Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux is basically quick feet as far as boxing, but as far as him actually like quickness with actual movement, no, he's not. He's a guy who likes to control the pace of the spots where he's going to throw his punches. Linares is a guy who's activity driven and has a lot of movement, and his offense comes off his movement. So he's quick, he's got movement. He's going to be a very difficult style of fight for Lomachenko. Now, where Lomo has over him is experience. He has the experience of fighting different styles amateur wise. Linares always fought like a guy who had a bald fist and he's very easy to hit. That is a problem that's going to have to be addressed. If he doesn't get Lomachenko's respect with his power, his face is there to be knocked completely off. And if Lomachenko gets to the spot and beats him to these spots in the ring and able to get his offense off, he might be able to hurt Linares. And that's going to definitely change the fight for him. because we've seen Linares get cut. He's get distracted by cuts, and he seems to go in the bag a little bit, and then he takes a round or two off, then he steps it up. But he might get stopped if on cuts if he doesn't address it in this fight because he starts putting his all his weight on his front foot, and then he's not doing what he needs to do, and he has a tendency of keeping guys around fights that shouldn't even be in the fight with him. You know, it's like this guy shouldn't even be here. You shouldn't even
True,
be
true.
fighting a rematch right now.
He's
This
a front runner. Major
exactly
front runner.
right. First 4 rounds is zip, 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 zip. Then 5 rounds, three. Next thing you know, he's a bloody mess. And it's like, what? How did this happen? What happened to you, Linares?
Yeah, right.
It's like he
You know,
ran
you
dead
can see
smack
this
into the
with like
wall.
Sugar Ray Leonard's career, looking all flashy and young Sugar Ray for the first 3 rounds. Then maybe kind of after retirement, Sugar Ray Leonard, and also you're like, oh boy, Terry Norris, oh watch out for this one. Because you're right. Next thing you know, his eyes cut up. He's losing the fight. He's getting flurried on. You're like, what the hell happened? Remember that DeMarco fight, man?
Yeah.
That was crazy. That is a style fight. We were talking about that before with CT and how he said, you know, you can say hand speed was there with Gary Russell, but the way Linares actually executes the footwork and the combination punching and the slickness, it is a much different style. And it's kind of a skill set is what we got. We don't get many of those these days.
You're right. And the fact that we don't get the skill fest that we used to, we're just normally watching, and what they promote is slugfest now. It's like that's a great fight. If some guy's getting hit in his face and the other guy's getting hit in the face, and when normally two skilled guys fight, you get some thinking going on in there. But to me, Linares really throws that out the window, and he turns it into a slugfest. And this fight, Lomachenko can be hit too, and he'll make it pretty exciting. And then you'll have a thing where two skilled guys end up turning it into a slugfest. And that's what it's going to be. I think this fight is going to break out into a war of punches being thrown. And you're going to see Linares get cut up very badly in this fight by Lomo. I think the power difference is going to show. Where Linares looks more to be flashy, Lomachenko is going to throw assertive punches to get in when he throws his. Because the speed of Lomachenko is also going to bother Linares too. So it's going to be a very interesting fight when it turns around to it. As it gets closer, I look forward to it. I think,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, I also think that this whole, because I was trying to get Bob on the phone all this week, I couldn't reach him. But Bob Arum and this Pacquiao situation has really turned into a whole gigantic big mess because Manny Pacquiao has decided that he's basically done with Top Rank. So after Top Rank was done, everybody was like Pacquiao was not really trying to fight Horn. He wanted to do it, but they wanted to push the fight over in Australia and make another fight with him and do this rematch thing. And Manny wasn't really with it. At first, he was with it, saying okay, but it was mostly them saying it. But when they put it in Australia, and they was like, well, that's where the money is. Why would we take it out of Australia? So finally, Pacquiao just like, I'm not doing the fight. Like that's that. I'm not doing it again because I felt
Right.
like I won that fight. I got robbed, and this might be just for this guy. And they don't have my best interest in. And Bob has been in cash out mode. He realizes this. I'm not making really any money with you anymore. People are not interested in seeing Manny Pacquiao. Like they were interested in seeing you fight Floyd Mayweather. Like you damaged yourself so much, but you still have some boxing fans that want to see Pacquiao fight. So they'll still come out. I can still sell some tickets internationally. They have all the money for these shows. United States can care less. You're not popping right now. That's it. So you're just done. If you're not hot in America, we have so many other distractions that we got the football, we got basketball, we got hockey, we have so many other
We got
distractions.
LeBron.
Oh, we don't want to talk about him tonight. I'm so disgusted with
I
him.
shouldn't have said it. We're gonna get off topic.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about him, especially tonight. This game just really got under my skin. But they went ahead and came up with a plan that they were going to make Manny Pacquiao use his fame to build up their younger fighters or bring some prestige to the fighters or whatever. So even if Pacquiao beat him, they're not ruined. They could still use him and people got to see him. And then they could put their young fighters on the undercard to try to use him as the anchor. Manny Pacquiao's back. So HBO saw that this wasn't working out. They had no big fights for Manny Pacquiao, and they were like, we can't keep putting Manny Pacquiao. We're not making any money here with Top Rank and these fighters. We're not. Nobody's watching these fights, and we're barely putting on fights anymore on HBO. Why are we entertaining this? Like, what? We're not making any money here. Showtime is killing us. People are tuning in to watch Showtime boxing. Showtime got all the fights coming on, and they're dominating the boxing ratings right now. So HBO, they have decent ratings when they put on shows, but once they went completely Euro and said, "Well, we're gonna work with Golden Boy now," we're back working with them. They're back at a reasonable price. We get Canelo. He's hot right now. We could use his name to build up our Euro champion, Gennady Golovkin, and everybody else, Cotto. They're going to use the old names to get those ratings up high. And that's that. But Showtime is consistent with fights, consistently coming with fights, 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 fights. So Showtime is coming out with fights. Now you got ESPN with Bob Arum was doing their thing. We had consistent boxing. Now something's gonna have to give, and you know it's coming. Pretty soon, you seeing all of the Titanic ship of most of the PBC is now going to Showtime. Very little is coming to CBS or NBC anymore. Everything is shifting now to paid cable. If you look at the schedule, it's not too many free shows you're gonna have on Bounce, just probably a few. But
Right. But
but
it's the FS1 and Fox from time to time, but
right,
yeah, you're right. It's mostly Showtime.
right, it's mostly Showtime now. So you've seen the CBS slow down. You've seen NBC on PBC slow down. Their contracts are up. Spike TV, I haven't seen anything over there. It's this whole year. It's all dissolved and all going back to basic. This is where we are. Boxing. This is exactly where we're going. Right back to cable. And it's like we gave you these for free so you could see it. Now we're going back on Showtime. And Showtime is going to start paying the money, put these fights on. And so far, they've been working. Like Arislandi Laura versus, I kind of didn't want to fight Jared Hurd right now. I felt like Jermell Charlo should have been fighting Hurd. To me, I felt that fight is more vital at this point, that those two should have been fighting each other. And Andrade should be fighting Jamal Charlo at middleweight. It should be a middleweight fight with Andrade somewhere down the line. I know Andrade had promotional problems. He had trouble getting on HBO. He's been flat
Right.
from sitting out all these years. And to me, it's always been his management has been the major problem with getting him, the fights that he needs. I think he's been mismanaged. And because of it, it has affected his career. Now you're looking at a situation though with the 154, they at least wrapping this thing up. They're having all their best fighters, all these best young fighters fighting each other. And that's what you want. HBO seemed to have
Right.
that going on great with the lightweights at 130. At 117 and 115, with sore run this
Right,
side.
yeah, Superfly.
Right, super
Light
flyweight.
heavyweights are starting to make noise.
Yeah. So they're doing the things that you need to be done. But I'm afraid for the long haul for HBO. Where are they gonna go?
Yeah,
Because the thing is long term is like for the rest of the year. Okay, we got this fight. We got you guys bought Anthony Joshua, or does that mean you're gonna get the fight with Wilder? We're gonna see that next. What's gonna happen there? HBO seem to be invested in the big promotional picture. Like we want the big fight, the mega fight. That should be on HBO more than let's focus on building these little guys up. We're gonna promote this to be the big fight. So we gotta take Gennady, we gotta put him in there with these bums, and you're gonna watch him. We've seen this developmental thing happen on showcase fights. We've seen that. Now we're ready for the guys to fight each other now. We're at that point. Like we went
yeah,
through this process already. We need to see the best fighters fighting the best. And that's where I'm at with it. So the fact that Pacquiao's lawyers and things like that want to get him out of the contract, that's fine. But they better have their T's crossed and their I's dotted because this is a guy in
yeah,
Bob M
exactly.
who is the king
They
of
get that microscope out and
exactly.
really go over that contract.
He is the king of winning lawsuits. He does not lose.
Besides Mikey Garcia, that's it. It's the only L he took. He's like a number one seed, 135 and one now, Garcino. Like a number one seed. The shit don't work. Doesn't want to lose. Let's keep this going on the topic outside the ring, though. As we know, UFC slash, we've seen the T-shirt, Zuffa Boxing. Dana White has made his intentions known for quite some time. He's getting into boxing. It sounds like he wants to promote some PBC guys as well, and maybe even blend that into a Fox deal because, as we know, their deal is coming up, the UFC and the Fox deal. As far as they're in negotiations right now, actually, and we've known about this UFC deal for Floyd Mayweather, and the last time we spoke last week, you know, there was some rumors about him getting his license for MMA, and I'm going to train for 6 to 9 months, and this, that, and the other. So basically, they got a deal open for Floyd, but there's a new deal that has to do with more of the UFC boxing, the Zuffa boxing, like the T-shirt says. And let's talk about both things, though, of course, because we got to cover Floyd a little bit anyway. But Anthony Joshua, this is Dana White said that he's traveling to England to watch Anthony Joshua versus Joseph Parker, and we know Anthony Joshua is getting near to the end of his deal with Matchroom Sports. It's been a big topic, especially overseas in the UK, of course. People talking about will he stay with them, will he not, this, that, and the other. Well, it's rumored that UFC slash Zuffa Boxing, Dana White's willing to give him a big 10-fight deal worth rumored anywhere from 30 to 50 million a fight. What do you think about this UFC boxing thing we've heard about? If this is anywhere near true, even if it's inflated a little bit, the contract, that really means they're serious about this. What do you think about both these things going on? And it just seems to be really heating up of late with the UFC and boxing and UFC and Mayweather.
That I would have to read the verbiage in the contract for that 10 fight. 50 million, 30 to 50 million, because that's not off base. I mean,
Right.
that's money Mike Tyson got. That's money that people didn't know existed in boxing fights till Floyd Mayweather was getting that contract. I mean, Floyd's had that deal for years. Mike Tyson used to make that kind of money, but you have to be able to generate that kind of money. And they believe they can. But
Right.
Anthony Joshua is not the kind of guy I think that you can have the dance partners with to generate that kind of money. Where is the 10 fights going to come from? Okay, you got two with Wilder. Um, if the fights are even close to being good enough, you could maybe make some fights there. But Anthony Joshua's a fighter who hasn't really translated himself in the United States to make that type of money. Most of those guys got to come over here to the United States to translate themselves or to be seen to where people would want to see them and spend that kind of money to get those 30 and $50 million deals. If that was the case, they can just stay overseas. Fighters would never come over here. No, you need the
Right.
United States. You need that money. Because for them, that's their international money. That's their back end off the international dollars. And they want to keep getting those residual checks by far. Like, look, international back money revenue, I need it. So I'm going to sit here and do what I do. And people forget that. Like,
yeah, they
I
have to
forgot.
have like a big pay-per-view number with Wilder out of the gate. You know, they'd have to have a nice thick one to even hope to recoup the money and grow, like you said, for 10 fights. That's a lot. You have Tyson Fury, you got a rematch with Whyte, you got Wilder, maybe a rematch with Wilder, but like you said, it seems like it'd be almost a front-loaded deal where it's like, all right, dude, that first pay-per-view, you have to do $1 million easy. That way we can build off of you. And then maybe, if it's a good enough fight, or if he's knocking people out, then I guess you could say, well, then he could take a stay busy fight and people watch because, it's heavyweight, knockout, one
right.
champion, that type of thing. But it would have to do a solid number with him and Wilder right out the gate. Because like you said, to get that pay-per-view money, you got to be big here because it's triple the price on paper.
You are absolutely correct. And they would have to do $1 million in pay-per-view buys, and they're believing that fight will do $1 million. So definitely they want to try to hook them on a 10-fight deal, but that's nobody's going to sign a long-term deal for 10 fights in boxing. It's not that common. Maybe 6-fight deals, and people don't get locked down like that no more in boxing. They like to do maybe 3-4 fight deals. Maybe early in your career you get locked in for that many fights because you want to be kept active. But normally it's not that many fights before you get, it's probably, I got a 6-fight deal, 5-fight deal. You rarely see a 10-fight deal anymore. Definitely for that much of time because fighters don't like to be locked down. Because here's the thing, where's the wiggle room? Let's say he doesn't recoup or make or hit a certain quota, then he won't get anything. So the verbiage is very important in these contracts. It'll say, well, up to that if you meet this criteria. You didn't make this criteria, so we don't get to the 30, 50 million. Now you got to get a basically flat fee that's going to pay you about 20 million or a little less than that. We got to go off the paperwork, or we got to go off the numbers of the show. If you don't hit this criteria or this number, the show don't generate this much, then we can't give you the 30 to 50. It's not guaranteed. Mike Tyson has something like that in his contract, saying if the show don't perform or do these type of numbers, your contract becomes unguaranteed. That verbiage was in the Mike Tyson contract. So when Tyson thinks he has guaranteed money, it says guaranteed, but it's through a stipulation. It's guaranteed as long as the pay-per-view does this amount of money, numbers. If it doesn't reach those type of numbers, your contract and your said purse is now not guaranteed. It's only guaranteed if the show does X amount of numbers, X, Y, and Z. And a lot of people don't understand that sometimes their contracts are structured like that. Even when they sign a guaranteed deal, you got to read the rest of the paperwork. Those words mean a lot on that paper.
Right. That would be a huge splash, though, if they could land Anthony Joshua in a couple of, Mikey Garcia or something, or something else, whatever. That would be a huge splash for Zuffa boxing or UFC boxing, whatever the hell you want to call it. I played that clip of Eddie. Eddie's like, no problem. We'll just get McGregor and we can call it even. Like, what's that?
Yeah, Eddie's just talking because
he's like, no, I'm good. Nah, I don't like those reports. Whereas you can tell Anthony Joshua hasn't quite heard of the report yet.
No, he hasn't, and it was the first time they had brought it up to him. You could tell it was all news to him. And once he heard it, he was just trying to go along with it for the interview's sake, instead of just saying, "I don't know about that one." I'll leave that up to Eddie. He's just trying to answer it. And always have an answer. And I'm like, oh man, that's the wrong attitude to take.
Well, and Eddie got to be freaking out when he hears, 100%. Like, yeah, I'm definitely down to work with Dana White. Like, what, dude? Like, come on, don't say that. Like, nah, man, you're not. That means I'm gone.
Right.
Because that'd be a big deal just to be like, well, only when you're in the U.S. No, because you got to collect on both pay-per-views. Because he'll do big numbers on pay-per-view even at 4 in the morning, like Ricky Hatton could do. And maybe in the future even more. If he could grow and keep winning and whatnot. What do you think about this Mayweather thing now, dude? I know we've been down this freaking road, too many times.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I really, truly.
But what do you think, though? Is it starting to show signs of reality?
I'm telling you the truth, I really don't even know. He's so all over the place because he's so bored. He misses. People don't understand. He has money. Floyd don't need any more money. He makes $2 million a month anyway, just for walking around for the rest of his life, due to some commercial real estate investments. He's going to get that for the rest of his life. That's not it. So he's always going to have that coming in. Then he has other investments that he's making money off of. Some that's going to start paying off in another 10 years. That's going to be bringing him another couple of $1 million a month. So he's got money coming in. Money is not his issue. It's the thing of boredom. Floyd is a person that got to have people around him at all times. And yeah, he needs that. He doesn't like to be alone. So what Floyd likes to do is control. He misses that spotlight. He's gonna miss that. He missed for people looking to hear what Floyd's gonna say. He missed that. People on the gram checking for him and seeing what he's gonna do. So he's got a strip club, so he could always have some celebrities come to his strip club and he could throw a party and people paying attention to Floyd. That's what he misses that. He's Money Mayweather, his persona, TVE. He wants that. He wants to be in that limelight and still have that life where people are still like, oh, look, that's Floyd. He wants that. It's to him, that's like boxing. That's the show. He loves that show, that part of it, without him having to even go fight. Now it's like people want to do it in the octagon. That'll do it. If I go do it in the octagon, then that's gonna make it official. And people really gonna love me then. When they see me, I went in the UFC ring and I did it. But it's gotta be against the right guy. Can't just be against McGregor right off the bat. Now they're saying, yeah, it's gonna be against McGregor. And sometimes, like he seriously told like Nate one time, like, I'm gonna do MMA. Then he turned around like, nah, I'm just kidding, I ain't gonna do it. So I really don't think he even knows if he's gonna go through with it or not. I think he's gonna do the training, see how it goes, and then make his decision there. But all of this 10-day, I'm gonna get my license.
Try it out a little bit, see if he's any good at it, and then be like, well, maybe I could. Like talk himself into it slowly.
Oh yeah, because everybody else is gonna tell him he's great anyway. Because he already said my wrestling is about a 9.
Yeah, right.
My hand game on a scale of 1 to 10 is 100. So
it was nice though. He showed some humility and gave his kick game like a 4. So he does need to work on the kick game.
Yeah, and I was just like, well, if you do that and somebody kicks Floyd in his legs, I'm like, there you go.
Right.
Because one hard kick to the leg.
We must be grading on a scale, not on 10, because I don't know if his wrestling game in the MMA or UFC is 7 or 8 or 9.
I give him a greater chance than CM Punk. That's that's what I
Yeah,
get.
that's true. Or James Toney. The one thing I'll say about avoiding somebody trying to take you down and kick you and whatnot, the the ring in UFC actually opens itself up better for lateral movement. You know, because it's circle. You can actually laterally move in a circle like you're warming up for practice type thing. You know,
Right.
and to do that the whole time, and it's bigger. It's a bigger ring. So the combination of it actually being in a circle and more room to move, if you're basically Floyd would need to turn it into a tackle rather than a takedown. Because I think he can handle a tackle if it's not a correct takedown and he's just jumping at him because he's on the move. That's different. But he'd really have to move the whole fight and just try to catch you, trying to tackle him and catch you with a punch, you know? Other than that, he's not going to be able to defend a takedown, you know?
Exactly.
It has to be a tackle. You have to turn these guys into tacklers.
Exactly. And I believe that Floyd Mayweather at this point is definitely going to attack and try to learn how to do takedowns and do all these things. But when a fight actually took place and they put this fight together, Floyd's whole thing is I'm gonna try to strike first. I'm gonna do some lateral movement. Then I'm gonna try to strike. If anybody they put in there with him, it's gonna be the biggest cream puff there is. He's gonna go in there. He's not gonna have any body or anything. Floyd's gonna be go in there and try to throw his punches and knock the guy out. If Floyd wins one MMA fight, it will be the biggest talked about thing in MMA history. And they'll be talking about bring on Conor McGregor.
It would be nuts. You think he could get higher on that top 20 dominant list on ESPN if he did that? Because dude, literally Floyd won his shit in '98. Think about that. His first title '98. We're here in 2018, and they have the audacity to put him at 8. Like it's Floyd, Serena, and Tiger. That's the top 3, bro.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is, ESPN, I don't, you can't follow anything they put down. You know, they create a stat quicker than anybody. But maybe he gets on that list. But I think Floyd's gonna get a cream puff, and if he win, they'll say it was fixed. Even if he beats McGregor, they'll be like, "Oh, they both staged this whole thing." So unless McGregor beats Floyd, it'll be yes, someone's finally beat him. But if Floyd wins, it's been they fixed this. No way Conor would lose to Floyd in MMA. So everybody wants to see McGregor fights Floyd and see how well Floyd would do. And I think McGregor is an easier fight for him if he's fighting some other guy who could wrestle. McGregor's not known for his wrestling, period. But he does have nice leg strikes.
Yeah. That's the thing I was gonna say. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is good with that.
Yeah, his leg strikes is serious. So he would definitely use that against Floyd. He would use those leg strikes, kicking him in his legs, and those things hurt days after. You see what happened if Floyd complained and somebody hit him in the right. Somebody hit him in the hip bone.
He beat Diaz because of that. That was how he was able to even win a lot of rounds like that.
Yeah, Floyd has a tendency of talking to the ref like, "Ref, he hit me in the hip." The ref gonna be like, "It's legal. Continue." You know, Floyd's gonna have to. Floyd's gonna have to mentally get himself around that. Like, "Hey, ref, wait, time out. This is not gonna happen. This is gonna happen very fast."
That's true.
You might
it's like goaltending in the Olympics. You know, for basketball, you're like, what? You can't just jump up. Oh, you can. That's right. You can see the U.S. players like hesitating, like, I can't do it. It's like they're glued to the ground, waiting to come off the rim. And meanwhile, the Euro dude comes by, bam, just knocks it in.
Yep.
It'd be crazy. It'd be crazy hype, though. Talk about a buzz. The first time around, the world, or that kind of a world tour. The tour, anyway, the press tour was crazy. But could you imagine the rematch in the cage? That would be just silly, man.
Oh,
but anyway, enough about that. We've been talking. We don't need to go too far down that one. What do you think of Golovkin lately? Really sending shots at not just Canelo. He even talked about Oscar and how he needs to take a drug test. He's sending shots left and right. What do you think about Golovkin lately? He's talking about a hair follicle, a hair test. Well, if that's the case, I think that Golovkin should put that sample in as well. But Golovkin, what's he doing? Is he making an excuse up right now if he loses? Is he just venting because, hey, why not? You know, he has the right to because of this failed trace amount of Mexican meat. What do you think about Golovkin? Because the last, day and a half, social media has just been blowing up about on both sides of Golovkin. A lot of people think he's laying the loser mentality down. Others think he's hyping the fight. People are talking about it, KARCENO, that's for sure. I saw it all over ESPN and on a couple of podcasts. I was like, all right, Golovkin, keep going.
Well, see, that's the thing. This guy doesn't normally talk. He's a walking stiff, so they need this. This is actually the best promotion for the fight, is having something to talk about. Because you got two fighters that both basically respect each other. So the promotional tour, the only buzz they had was Canelo against Abel Sanchez. That was the only real big buzz of the entire thing. And they was like, well, he's not fighting Abel Sanchez. We need his opponent, Triple G, to actually say something. And it's very unusual for him because he's so respectful. For him to say something like he's saying, it's almost like they're putting the words in his mouth and saying, this is what we're going to have you say. And you got to say it to the public. And I don't feel this way. I just beat him in the ring. That's not good enough. Okay, we gotta keep pushing this because they want the press and have Canelo to have all this stuff in his mind. They want it to all be in his mind completely. And they want Canelo, to be focused on this whole controversy so he can have a distraction in his camp the entire time. He's got to worry and answer questions about this testing and what happened with the food and this. And they want that to consistently be the narrative through the entire camp. Because Canelo should have been suspended. He should be punished. And the league should do this to him. And Oscar, he's doing it. They want to keep these headlines about Canelo drug test, Canelo drug test. They want it all to be the main focus so that when the fight rolls around, that's going to be the topic. Canelo's going to be out to prove something again. When the whole pressure was on Golovkin to prove that he could beat Canelo, that he could knock out Canelo. And the pressure was on him to prove because he didn't do what he was the favorite. He was supposed to knock Canelo out in 6 rounds compared to everybody else. And he looked subhuman. He looked bad. And to me, Canelo won the fight easy. But to everybody else, maybe not. He missed that right hand almost all night long. He landed one right hand and didn't. Canelo gave him so much respect. And that's why I said in this fight, it's all she wrote for Triple G because Canelo knows what I knew going into the fight. You do not have to move. You don't have to run. You don't have to hide. There is nothing you have to do to get away from Triple G. You could beat him right in front of him. Right in front of him. You don't even have to move. That movement he was doing was so unnecessary. It helped him, I guess, to get in position, get in spots. You could do that all night long. He can't cut off a ring. So you can do that all night long. And your power got his attention. He was so afraid to come in and be aggressive. When Canelo was on the ropes, people was like, oh, he ran all night. No, he didn't. Canelo was on the ropes. He didn't even go in. He stood back.
Yeah, it took him till the middle rounds to throw 2-punch combinations while he had him on the rope.
Exactly.
It was really strange and no body shot.
None. He wouldn't even engage. Canelo was on the ropes. He wouldn't even go in and engage. Now, we saw him do that with every other fighter he has fought on HBO. He would engage. He would throw the body shots. He would go in. He was so reluctant on what was coming back. He kept his guns in the holsters. He'll throw a little jab, paw and jab, like he's going to throw a jab, but he's not even caring about throwing an assertive jab. He just wants to land the right hand. And Canelo saw that right away. And he saw all the punches he was doing. He saw what Triple G was trying to do, and Canelo kept trying to catch him within between punches. And that's why he said he hurt him in one of the rounds with a body shot. It was in Spanish. Good thing I had my buddy there to translate it for me. He was talking with Julio Cesar Chavez, and he was actually showing what he did with Triple G. He said Triple G would jump back. He said that's why he was backing up in the fight, because I caught him with that shot before. When he would throw his jab, he would try to come with the right hand. He would shoot his left hook to the body, to the middle of the solar plexus real fast before he gets his right hand off. He's like, he come with the 1-2. He's like, normally if he slip it, I come with the body shot right after, right to his body. But he started to jump back. He started, after I caught him with it one good time, that's why he wouldn't commit. He knew I was attacking his body and hurting him in the body with the body shots. And he's like, I hurt him in one of the rounds early when he came with that like measuring jab and tried to measure me for the right hand, and he popped him in the middle of the solar plexus. He caught him so good with the shot. Gennady looked backed up, and he would just jab until he kept his distance so that Canelo couldn't land that shot. And he's like, that's why you see him when he threw the 1-2 right here, he would pull and jump all the way back. He was jumping back. And I was like, he's right. Canelo's absolutely right. I've seen Gennady do that in that fight. He jumped back more in that fight than any fight he's ever had. He jumped back. He'll throw his punches and then he would get out of there. He would jump back. And I was like, why is he doing that? Why is he not just coming forward like the machine he's supposed to be? I mean, it's great on his part. It shows that he has knowledge. He knows how to protect himself and, keep an iron face when he's hurt. It's very smart on his end, but
it's not Mexican style.
Exactly. He was able to disguise it well. And then when Canelo's fatigue kicked in and he had to take rounds off and Gennady Golovkin was coming forward, he still wasn't landing anything with any authority. He wasn't landing no telling blows. Canelo was still landing the telling shots, even when he was fatigued and moving away. He would stop, land, pow, pow, pow. All the punches is flying off his face. And I'm like, okay, he didn't throw more than Golovkin this round, but Golovkin wasn't doing nothing but arm punching and pushing punch. He wasn't really hurting Canelo at all. And I'm like, at no time did he even hurt Canelo. Canelo was like, still this, it's all in his head. Like, it's like this guy just not hit that hard at all. He's like, he got a good punch, but it's not world beating. Because a fighter, as much as they say I don't believe it and I don't focus on it, all of this talk, it really gets to the fighters. You build that up in your head. Like, I just want to feel this punch and get it over with. So, because everybody's making this guy out to be a world beater. And I just want to get this over with and show that I could take his punch and I could punch too. But what he felt is that Canelo is not the same as he was when he was 19 years old that he fought. He basically sparred a 19-year-old inexperienced Canelo Alvarez. He's much better and much solid into his weight now. And he felt the power from Canelo. So Canelo earned his respect from Gennady Golovkin. I have not seen a fighter take and hit Gennady Golovkin as cleanly with more shots than Canelo did. If Canelo stops him and don't stop him, I'll be surprised. But I think he drops or hurt Triple G in this fight. If Triple G decides to fight the same strategy as before, which I don't see him doing anything different, not throwing any body shots, keep pushing forward the way he was, and not committing and leaving his head open for counter shots and getting caught, he's not going to beat Canelo. He's not going to beat him. Canelo hits a lot harder, and he's more intelligent as far as movement. I just, I can't see him losing to a guy that's basically a one-trick pony. He's basically proved he has not he's not improved, and he's another year older. That's why people don't realize he's talking about retiring. He's not talking about I'm going to fight 3, 4 more fights. He's talking like this is my last year. They had to really talk him out of retirement. He wanted to fight Canelo and retire. That was his goal. Triple G is not trying to fight 3, 4 more years. HBO is trying to make him fight 3, 4 more years. Gennady Golovkin is trying to get out of this. That's his goal, Chris. He wants to walk out undefeated and get his money and his health, but he knows he's not the same fighter he was when he came in there beating Proska and all these other guys. The age is catching up to him. He's taking way more punches than he's ever taken in his last 3 fights than he did in his first 7. He's getting hit a lot more. He's cutting a lot more.
Yeah.
He's bruising a lot more.
He's definitely shown a weakness in the last 3 fights.
Exactly.
Clear. No doubt about it.
And that's what we got to judge him off, his last 3 fights. He has not had a knockdown. He did not knock Kell Brook down at all. He broke his orbital bone, but, so did, what's his name? Errol Spence. He broke the other orbital bone. So that's just happened to be what stopped the fight, but he was losing that fight before that happened. So looking at it, it broke, and that broke a lot of people's fear of Gennady Golovkin. Everybody was signing up to fight him. Now you got Billy Joe Saunders. Saunders is like, come on, let's go. I'm ready to fight you now. Everybody called him out.
So what else you got? You got anything else you want to talk about? We do have Dillian Whyte and Lucas Browne, a heavyweight fight that HBO picked up. This weekend. Obviously, it's a little quiet for another weekend while college basketball takes over.
Oh yeah.
You got anything else you want to talk about?
That's a very interesting fight. I think Lucas Browne, his condition will fail him, and Dillian Whyte will get the victory. I think it might be a stoppage, probably in the 7th round. I'll say probably 7 before Lucas Browne's body gives out. And Dillian Whyte, he's a guy that takes a beating. Like you can really have some very good success against him. Hit him with some very good shots, like on the ropes, off the ropes. You can knock him around like a ping pong. Then he'll just, for some way, get some energy and start landing these shots. And he's heavy-handed. You can land some shots to get your attention and get a knockout. And I think that's what's going to happen to Lucas Browne. He's going to just phase out and get his check in about 6, 7 rounds. He's going to be looking for that soft spot on the canvas. He's going to be like, is that soft spot I heard about? Man, if I go down in time, I wonder if that buffet is still open. Let me go down right here and get this over with right now. I can hit the shower and get my check. Maybe I can still get that buffet before I can get my plane out of here tomorrow. So, yeah, no disrespect to Lucas. He's known to pull off an upset or two, but I just don't see him motivated to do that here.
Yeah, I agree. I think Whyte will win. I think that, run out of gas for sure.
Yeah, so this week I'm trying to get Jesse Vargas by his training schedule. It's been rough trying to get him. The last time I talked to him, like I spoke on earlier today, he was mostly talking about how him and how they were supposed to fight Keith Thurman. The
Right.
manager, and everybody, they were agreeing to do the Keith Thurman deal, and Keith Thurman was the only one. Like, whoa, wait a minute, Jesse Vargas? That's who you picked? Like he knew Jesse Vargas
That's
is
not a tune-up.
exactly. He's like, I don't know if I'm ready enough yet for Jesse Vargas. Let me start with something light. But instead of just saying that, they kept stringing Jesse Vargas along. Like, we just working on it, trying to get it approved. They try to make it look as if Showtime didn't want to do the fight, didn't want to choose Jesse Vargas as an opponent, which was clearly not the case. He's with Ringstar now. He's ready to go. He has no promotional flaws whatsoever. He's ready to go. And this is like, man, he was like, man, I was training. Like, come on, let's get the fight ready. He's been out like for a while. He's like, I've been out for about a year. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. So now all of a sudden, he's in a situation where he's got to wait and see what's going to happen with everybody else. So he's in that boat. So then this fight just happened to fall in his lap. He was like, "Look, I've been training already, so I can make 140." And then I think they're gonna make it a catch weight at 144.
Yeah, that's right, 144.
Yeah, so which is better for Jesse
Kind
because
of funny. It's kind of funny how quick that fight came together.
hmm
But yet Thurman couldn't fight Vargas.
yeah, well they didn't want to lose the date. You see, they were the main
Sure.
event on there, and Showtime didn't want to lose that date. And Adrian's like, "Look, like I still want to keep the date. I still want to fight." So what they worked on was like, let's try to save the date. We could make it a catch weight fight because Jesse would have to cut what 7 pounds, 6, 7 pounds. So to save Jesse from cutting it all the way down to 140, do the fight at 144. Every Jesse can make 144, and everybody will be happy. But that does favor Jesse a little bit. Jesse's been fighting at welterweight for a while now. He's kind of filled out at welterweight. But I think it kind of helps Jesse a little bit because Jesse will balloon up on weight day, and he's another big active welterweight, which I think it's. See, the thing about Adrian Broner, activity bothers him. If you got a decent jab, it's gonna bother him. If you do decent basic boxing, if you somebody who sit and watch and wait to see what's going to happen. Adrian loves those thinkers that sit there and won't make a decision so he can go ahead and impose his will and control the middle of the ring and throw some flashy punches with a hard one mixed in there. And his hard punch is normally his left hand. He's got a very sharp left hook. His right hand is good, but it's not as strong as his left. And he'll throw some flashy punches with one hard one in there, and he'll throw a right uppercut that's hard and a left hook that's hard. So when that happens in his little combination, most of it though is shoe shine. Adrian can't fight off the back foot. He doesn't really have a plan B. He only could do come forward. So if you pushing him with a jab, pushing him back, and he's not slipping punches. He's not going side to side using, waist movement because he probably was BSing or whatever. It's hard to go back to day one and try to say, no, I know what I'm doing. I got to get it back. I got to do the thing because you've been ignoring what to do for so long and neglecting and abusing your skills that you did have. Now you're getting older. Now you're taking all these shots. Now it's in your subconscious that I could be hurt. I could get dropped. And when Adrian gets hurt, he goes in the bag. I saw Mikey Garcia hurt him. He went in the bag. He got hurt against Granados. And he really didn't win that fight. So He did everything he could in the Mikey Garcia fight, but he just wasn't solid enough to beat Mikey Garcia. To beat Mikey Garcia, you have to be aggressive. You got to make Mikey fight off the back foot. You got to come with a lot of aggressiveness. And Lipnitz, he gave him a fight to remember because that guy came
That was
forward.
a good fight, man.
Yes, it was. And Mikey, he was not ready for 140.
Mikey's toughest fight.
Yeah, it was Mikey's toughest fight because he wasn't really 100% ready for this guy. And this guy, you had to go to the body on him. Mikey almost threw 0 body shots in this fight. He still fought like an amateur, doing the 1-2, 1-2, 1-2s, and the left hook. He'll mix in there, but mostly 1-2s over the guy's jab, throwing it over the shoulder, doing the basics that he was taught, coming over the shoulder, jab, line him with the jab, then come with the right hand over the shoulder, and step to the side, throw a counter left hook, which is like the check hook, and getting out of the way. That's the only time he was gonna throw a hook was a check hook, counter punch, and getting out of there. That was it. Other than that, jab, right hand over the shoulder, jab, right hand over the shoulder, no body punches, no jabs to the body. This guy was able to stick around because Mikey Garcia was fighting a cautious fight. And that has always been the knock on Mikey Garcia. He's always fought a cautious fight. He doesn't know how to not fight cautious and scared. He fights a very controlled fight, stay in control, do this, don't go for it. He's never been in a fight where he had to dig down and go for it. He's always been the guy that's been in control, be in control. Some fighter is going to push him, and if he fights Robert Easter Jr., he's going to be pushed. Now, I think he could beat that Robert Easter because Robert Easter, like Adrian Broner, they have not learned. I mean, Robert Easter don't party as much as them. He's mostly in the gym, but he is not evolved. He has not evolved enough to deal with the situations. Like he's supposed to be a lot better than what he is. He leaves his chin out there too much to get knocked off. He telegraphs his left hooks and his punches, and then he just gets in a knockout, drag out fight. And I'm like, he makes an easy fight or a fight that should be easy hard when they don't have to be. He has all the skills. He has the height to dominate his weight class. I'm like, you should be the Thomas Hearns of this division. You should be popping that jab at will. That right hand shouldn't come out unless absolute necessary. You don't even have to telegraph it. Just wait for it. It's going to come. The shot's going to be there. You take it. You're trying to force these shots, and then you're getting countered. People are setting traps for you. They know when you're going to throw the left hook. Now they can see it coming. You're not landing it as quickly. When you fight other skilled guys, when you go up on the skill levels, and this is what happens when you keep feeding these guys, all of these fighters that are like tomato cans, you're easily going to catch the tomato cans with these shots because they're tomato cans. They don't see the coming. They don't see the little things in the ring. So when you're knocking over these tomato cans, you're building false confidence because once they start fighting guys with skills are going to pick up on that. And that's the advice I gave to Robert Easter when we were in Detroit. And I told him, I said, man, you got to stop telegraphing your left hook. Stop it. Please, whatever you do, just fix that. That's your main problem. When you fight guys that are good, I'm like, I knew every time you were going to throw the left hook. Every time. You didn't throw one feint, nothing. Oh, man, I ain't have to do that tonight. I'm like, you better try and practice it because if you don't, it's going to cost you in the end. And you will pay for it in the end. And you don't want to wish you didn't do the things that you were taught to do from day one. You've been ignoring them for so long. But if you've seen his last couple of fights, he's been in dog fights. People don't even think he won against Fonfara.
Last 3 fights.
Yeah, last 3 fights. And in the Fonfara fight, he was hurt. And a lot of people don't think he beat Funfar. They picked Funfar to beat him. Not Funfar, but who did he fight? Fortuna, that's it. Fortuna. And everybody's like, Fortuna won this fight. And they said Fortuna was robbed. And he's like, I know I was robbed because all of those shots were wide open. His face is right there to get hit every time.
Well, it's about to cut us off here, Carceno, so I appreciate you calling in and live streaming and everything. You got any last words, sir?
No, I just want to tell everybody that's watching on live stream, make sure you go and follow them at ropeadope.com. Go to Blog Talk Radio at ropeadope.com, ropeadoperadio.com rather, and subscribe. Go follow him on Twitter. Chris Carson, what's your YouTube? Is it Ropeadope Radio on YouTube too?
Yeah.
You got Ropeadope Radio on YouTube. Every Wednesday night, the show is on there on Twitter. You will get an alert. He always tweets the show out. Make sure you click the alerts so that you can follow it at Ropeadope Radio. So that way you'll have a link to the show in case you just forget or absent-minded. That way you get your alert when the show goes on live on Wednesdays, and no matter what time it is. So you can always be updated with boxing. And thanks for having me again on the show, and we're out.
All right, buddy. Take it easy. Enjoy the fights this week and enjoy the basketball, too.
All right. My team's all eliminated, but no, Loyola Chicago is still there. I picked them to make it to the Sweet 16. That's the only thing I got, but I picked Arizona to win it.
You got a rooting it. You still got someone to root for.
Yeah, I was like, I picked Arizona to win it, and I did it live on YouTube, a live stream, and I picked Loyola Chicago to beat Tennessee and go to the Sweet 16. And I was like, I got it. I picked them. Loyola Chicago. That's the only thing I could really brag about. Everything else was not good for me.
All right, buddy. You take it easy.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
That's Blog Talk Radio, Ropeadope Radio Show. So thank you guys that all stuck around. You guys said y'all wanted to see me talk boxing more. We just talked boxing more. We did 2 boxing videos with the new live YouTube camera that now the YouTube streams live directly through their system. No more third party. Another 50 Cent beef video? I don't know. It might come sooner than you think. You never know. Wasn't an honest mistake. He ate food. That was it. He was in Mexico. He ate food. He don't train in Mexico no more. But while he was off, he's living in Mexico. He lives in San Diego now. That's where he trains out of and everything else. But he was in Mexico in the meats. They put this chemical in there. And if it was something, they did an investigation. If his blood level had the traits that were high enough, like when somebody in Russia, they use this too, this chemical to increase their body fluid. If it was, believe me, the guy who was fighting Deontay Wilder, they look at the levels that's in your body and they could tell unless you've been eating half a horse, you wouldn't have this much in your system. Canelo had very little, which very much backs up his story that it came from food. You see, they can tell these type of things. Nobody's stupid. So, but they know the general public is pretty much dumb, and people are going to write boxing articles and make videos about, look at Canelo, look what he used to look like, look what he looks like now. I'm like, yeah, you showed a picture when he was 21 and just showed a picture when he's 25. Me at 25 and 21, that's light years different. Yeah, Diego. Do I do house music? No. House was very huge in Chicago, you know that. All the chicks did it. Well, why don't you go right over there, Frank? You go tell Sean Craddock on Boxing Socialist. You can go over there and write. You can sign right up and say, I want to write for Boxing Socialist. We'll let you write. That's what everybody else did. So if you want to be a boxer writer, you go over there. Very easy. Go to @Boxing Socialist on Twitter. Tell him I want to write for Boxing Socialist. Here's my resume. I talked to KARCENO. He told me to do it. You tell him you want to do it, and you go right on here, knock yourself out. You can write all day long. See, that's the thing about Boxing Socialist. We let you tell your side of the boxing story. You want to tell somebody what you want, you make a video, you want to post it on Boxing Socialist, you can. Be like, look, here's my video. It's on boxing. I want you to put it up. I'll put it up there. It's already been a very interesting day. Well, see, the thing is, that's one of my favorite. Well, that's good. Keep working, and you want to get subs. Keep working. You'll keep getting them.